Welcome to the Twilight Gap podcast on the BlackNerdProms.com network. I'm Memnoch117, and I'm joined by GeneralSnooze and RiseOfTaj. What's up, folks?
What's going on? What's going on? Gaming was good.
Yo, gaming is good. Gaming is real good right now. You know what I'm saying?
Real good, man.
It's been a good gaming season. But this is our first time on the Twilight Gap podcast. Just gonna talk straight games, no messing around, you know what I'm saying? We got other interests, but not for this next hour, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've been excited. I've been wanting to do this for a little bit, you know, since we just recently all kind of got joined up. We're all on the PlayStation Network, and we've been playing a lot lately. We've been playing a lot of Destiny lately.
Yes.
Like a job playing it like.
Like, yo, that's exactly what it feels like, man. Just coming on at 10 p.m., getting off at 3 a.m.
just clocking in and out for your shift. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like some jobs, sometimes you work a whole shift and you may not get a whole lot out of it. And then sometimes you work a whole shift and you're like, damn, I was real productive today. But yeah, so we've been playing a lot of Destiny, and the thing is, to enjoy Destiny, you have to play a lot of Destiny. If we just keeping it 100, and I just to give a little bit here, me Memnoch speaking, I say that I've been playing Destiny since day one, year one, right? So I originally had it on the Xbox One. I switched over because the Taken King was going to bring in the year 2 for Destiny, and I talked with Snooze, talked with Taj, like, oh, y'all might get it. Oh, okay, cool. And I did not know. I know that I liked the game, but I know I was invested in it, right? Like I'd already seen it. I had played it with my friends, played it a ton on the Xbox and everything. So when I switched over to the PS4, I was like, oh, okay, like. This is cool. They'll probably get into it for like a couple months. A lot of my friends dropped off when I was on the Xbox One because it is a grind. I did not know if we would last this long. I'll be honest with you. I know we last this long. So just because Snooze jumped on first and we were partnered up for a lot of the first. You know, first month of that or so, Snooze, like, take me through, like, okay, I'm going to get this game, so now I'm playing it. Like, how'd you feel about Destiny and the hype before it, and then, you know, once you start playing it?
Well, I used to watch a little bit of gameplay of Destiny, and I just thought, you know, it's just like another Halo game, so I'm not about to waste my money on that, because I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooters. So I thought, like, you know, once I bought this game, I'm like, great, it's going to be another waste of $60. I'm going to have to, you know, send Amazon a letter. You know, y'all could take this back. You give me my money back.
Hold on a second. So you did this off the strength of just being like, hey, we might all play this game. And you were like...
I did this for my friends. I'm like, we'll play a game together. Let me buy this game for them. This is more for them than it is for me. You
gamed so hard in the paint. In the paint. That is commendable. You know what I'm saying? but go ahead. So now you got the game.
So now I got the game. You know, I'm playing, you know, the story mode, you know, my ghost, whatever. I never knew what a ghost was. I'm like thinking Casper is about to come out or something. I didn't know, like, it was like this little thing, this
AI companion or whatever.
Yeah. And, you know, it's talking to me, and I'm playing the story mode. I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know, I know how to shoot a gun and I know how to kill an enemy. Cool. I go through the story mode. You know, I finish it up, and then, you know, Memnoch and I, you know, start playing together. And I don't know, I feel like this game is more fun when you play with other people than playing it by yourself.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know, after I started playing this game for a while, this, like, it just took over my life, you know. This became my obsession. Like, after I finished work, I had to come home, make sure I get some dinner, and then eat and play this game at the same time. And if I didn't get nothing from, I mean, I couldn't go to sleep until I got, like, some type of reward from the gameplay, either a new weapon, a new piece of armor, but I had to get something.
That's a rough way to go. That's a rough way to operate. Is the fulfillment. It's like the reward fulfillment. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now This game is like number 1 on my list now. I never saw that coming.
Well, it's crazy, right? Like, I think, and this debate's been going on for a year before now, right? Like, in terms of the game, and the game has evolved so much. Like, it really is a completely different game than the one that shipped, over a year ago now. But, look, this is Bungie, right? Like, Bungie, like, still to this day, I still think the Halo franchise is one of the top, 5 first-person shooter franchises ever created, and they just know what they're doing, right? They know how to, they know how to work the gunplay. They know how to script a path for your player. They know how to do big battle scenes, being involved, and their physics engine's always been great. So I trusted that, and that's why I went for Destiny, and they knew this was going to be their most ambitious project. Having said all that, Halo was pretty empty for a while, right? Like, you get in and it's highly polished, but there's a lot of stuff that you went through the content very quickly. And so you kind of had to be dedicated to doing it. And Snooze is right. Like, playing it solo, okay, get some enjoyment out of that. And there's also forums and meetups and things like that. And I have met so many people online that I've retained as people I still interact with because of Destiny. I've been playing online games forever, but I don't keep them motherfuckers around, right? Like, but Destiny is like, oh no, so-and-so's online. No, I know I can rock with them, right? It's just been a different animal. So Taj, Rise of Taj, take me through, like, okay, you got the game, now you're playing the game, how long is this going to last, kind of when you knew, like, okay, I know I'm going to be playing this game a lot.
To take it way back, I played both betas, and I was just like, okay, this is cool, this is, pretty much Borderlands with guns, that's my first instinct, so I said, okay, I can, not pick it up right away, because I'm like, these games are expensive nowadays, and then, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the gaming drought from earlier this year, but I seen a trailer for The Taken King, and I just said, okay, like, I said I was gonna pick this up. Now is a good time to do it. Let's see, one of my most anticipated games this year, Arkham Knight, that pretty much disappointed me. So I the same day 2K came out, I picked this one up, and I just got on, and it was just a different from what I thought it was going to be. Like, it's a lot deeper. Like, I've seen things, people. Like, I've seen things and I've been places. And I've seen things like I can't even explain, but I'm just enjoying the ride right now.
That's what's up. No, it's, from the differences from year 1 to year 2. And I think that's, I have some friends that have came over from the Xbox as well, just because, same situation as me, has some people that are on the PS4 and just found a convenient way to get it. But, like, I've told people, like, yo, like, if you put it down before, it might be a good time to pick it up. The Taken King, it just changed everything. Like, the presentation, how you went through your missions, how you accomplish stuff, how you level up, how you level, period. And then on top of that, like, the Taken King, the actual missions in the expansion are some of the best missions now in the game, right? So they just improved the game dramatically with this release, and they got a lot of stuff right. So, but yeah, so now we've all kind of been, been able to play with each other now online. I guess I can ask, is everyone, are we in agreement everyone's favorite part is doing the raids?
Yes.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting, like, hit up and, like, hey, you jumping on? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like I'm already ready. It's just like, it's just like, oh, hell yeah, I'm on. Like, no questions asked.
Here for this. I'm here for this. Yeah. And I've described it as, like, I don't remember a first person. I mean, I know there's a lot of qualifiers, but a first person cooperative shooter that had this much of a puzzle element to it, of a just real cooperation. Not everyone shoot the bad guy until we bring him down, right? Like actually people having roles and things that they need to do. I don't know that I've seen anything to this level of engagement, right? And you know, basically everything to me, and there's other stuff to do, but I feel like, especially in the like player versus environment mode of it, in the PvE environment, everything you do is working up to get into the raid and like to be able to do the raid, you know, well. Snooze, tell me, you know, the first time thing we did for the raid was Vault of Glass.
Yeah.
Like what was your interaction like first time we get in there? Like, okay, I've been playing this game, but this feels different, right?
Yeah, like my first time ever doing that, it was like, well, now I have more things I need to do. I can't just stand in front of the enemy and shoot him until he goes down. I actually have to do some type of strategy, and I actually have to use my brain to actually, you know, get stuff done. And like it was like an adrenaline rush. It's like, I don't know, like it's like these raids like have become so addicting. Like it's like I don't want to do story modes anymore. I just want to keep doing the raids because it just, you know, it involves so much more than just, you know, shooting the enemies and getting to the end. You know, as you were saying, you know, there's people have roles and things like that. And I don't know, that's just like, you know, when I did Vault of Glass, it was crazy. You know, you have people on the left, people on the right, people on the middle, and whoever has the position, you know, has to hold that down. You got to shoot certain things just to move forward. You know, if one person dies, then we all die. It's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder how many friendships have been fractured over the raid, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, especially on here's a question. Taj, I threw this to you. What can you think of a moment? Because we played all 3 raids now, right? And we've gotten through them all and everything. What's the one section of any of the raids where like is the most frustrating? Because if somebody don't do their job, then it's just a done deal.
I think it's the last part of the Oryx raid, just because if we mess up, we gotta hear those famous, Will Evan words, not putting enough damage down.
We're not doing enough damage. We're
not doing enough damage.
Yo, that's real.
It's just like when you hearing somebody that you love say, I'm totally disappointed in you right now. It's the same feeling. It's just like, oh, okay.
But like to the correct, like, the Oryx section of the King's Fall raid, right? So the final boss, when you're fighting Oryx, who's about the size of like, you know, a skyscraper, basically. That is the most of all the raids, and I still love them all, but like that is the most complex part of all the raids, and you don't know how complex it is until you're explaining it to somebody. And you're like, hey, there's these 4 pillars in the room, right? And then Orc's going to slam on one, and then one person jumps up, but they're torn, and they have to do these platforms. And then everyone else jumps up counterclockwise, and then they have to kill the ogres counterclockwise. And then the person grabs the brand, takes it from the knight. Then you have to explode the orbs. It's like, it's ridiculous, right? And that's like, that's only the first phase of that raid, right? That's not the whole fight. So that part is so, but it's so enjoyable, and it's rewarding when it clicks. Like, so how long were we taking to go through the raid before?
Hours,
like couple days, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And then bringing people into it. Someone's new. Okay, we got to explain each part, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then we did the last time we did on normal. We did it, about an hour and a half?
Yeah.
A little over, like maybe hour, 15 minutes. So and that was easily our most enjoyable time doing that particular raid, right? Because we weren't dying a bunch. Everyone knew what they were doing. And we went through it pretty quickly. And that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, there's a beauty in like trying to figure something out and like progressing through it, even though that can be frustrating, obviously, but like, when people start getting it and like working together to get something done. And then there's a beauty in like almost mastering something where you're like, okay, everyone knows the role. Like all the dialogue goes down real quick, right? Like, hey, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And then it just becomes, you up? I'm up. I'm up. All right. He's out. Okay, cool. Jumping down. But like, it's like one word, like directions at that point.
It's just like, it's just these raids. They change the way you play. They change the way you play the game. You know, most games that come out, they're just, games where, okay, well, I'm the star. You know, you play 2K, you're shooting all, you're taking all the shots. You play Call of Duty, you're doing the Rambo thing. And with raids, it's just like, you can play that way if you want to, but you won't get anything accomplished. Yeah. You know, everyone has their roles, and, I'm happy to be playing with people, we know each other's strengths, we know each other's weaknesses. It's not, a surprise where, okay, if somebody falls, then, just cover the slack. Right. It's just a lot of communication going on, and, we've seen good results from that.
Snooze, what's your favorite raid?
The King's Fall, of course.
King's Fall?
Yeah, of all time. And I think my favorite part of that raid would be the glyph sequence. When you have to get the buff.
Yo, the glyph sequence is fun.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, that's one of those, like, if somebody dies, it's like, oh, hell, we're all done now, right? But, right. The genius of the relay race, basically, of the tagging someone in, basically, is what you're doing. Yeah. That is so dope. And like, just the design of that's awesome, right? Like, because it's not overly complicated, but it feels like that because you do have 6 people that are always changing a spot, right? But no, the glyph sequence is really fun to do. And I like, even the first time we went through that, I was like, that was pretty dope, right? Like once we got it down, like that was pretty dope. And again, like once we get good at it, then it becomes one word answers. It's like, night's out. All right, cool. Heading up, heading down, got the buff. All right. You know what I mean? Like yeah. And actually, when you're good at the raid, when you can start like talking and joking that shit's like, that's not in the raid, right? Like when you can have normal conversation during the raid, then everyone knows what they're doing, right? Because people don't need to be reminded, and you're not even talking about the raid. You're talking about like, how garbage like Arrow was this week or some shit, right? But like that's enjoyable, right? Like, and I think the last time we ran the raid was the first time we kind of had everyone in the raid knew what they were doing.
Right.
And that's another thing too. I'm very thankful for y'all, and thankful that we have like a pretty core group right now. 'Cause man, when you join the raids on the forums, that shit is savage. That shit is so savage. Cats be like, okay, first of all, your light can't be below this. You have to have this emblem that shows you've done this before. But like this some shit like it's stricter than like getting a government job trying to get in on a raid team sometimes. Jeez. And but like I just like the familiarity, right? And instead of playing with quote unquote randoms, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I do agree with that.
Yeah, so talking about like the King's Fall raid, I think is their best one. It is the biggest raid, right? Like it is pretty much the size, not combined, but it's pretty close to the size of both raids. I still think like Vault of Glass is a masterpiece, though. The way that fight is arranged is pretty amazing. What's your favorite part of Vault of Glass?
I think it's when we hide in that gap, because I never noticed that gap when I played before, and it was just like, oh, Taj, jump up here, and I'm like, where are y'all at? And we're in this rock. I'm like, y'all in a rock, like what?
Yo, that's the calm. That's the calm before the storm, man. That's when you're just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a thunderstorm out. You just sitting on the porch watching it rain. You know what I mean?
It's like, wait, what y'all doing?
Yeah, that's when he summons the minions or whatever. Yeah, I love Vault of Glass. Snooze, what's your favorite part of Vault of Glass?
I think it would have to be the part where you have to sneak past those, what are they called again? The
Gorgons?
Yeah, we need to sneak past them.
So you're the first person I've ever heard to say they like that part.
Only because it's something different. You don't have to kill them, you have to do is just sneak past them, which is pretty cool. Like, like with me being a big Assassin's Creed fan, mm-hmm. I like to be sneaky. I like to, I don't like to fight all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Get her stealth on, yeah.
I listened to, one of the, developers on the raids. He came over he's been with Bungie since they were doing Halo. And, they're talking about designing the raids, and he was like the lead designer for Vault of Glass. And he talked about, and it was very cool to hear the process, but he talked about how he knew he wanted a moment of like no fighting, and like a moment that you would have to travel with your whole team a great distance without shooting stuff, right? And he really did, as corny as it sounds, he really did envision like, we're going to make people talk to each other. Like, it's not going to be hectic. You're going to be going kind of a minor maze of how to get from one place to another, but you're not going to be shooting stuff. And specifically, he was talking about before the Gorgon fight, not before the Gorgon maze, after you beat the Templar, and you're just you keep descending and going down and down and down. And he said, like, it was there's the desired effect. It's like you got people really having real conversations in the middle of this raid, because they had to travel this great distance together. And he said it made it feel more like a journey. So that kind of gives you like the idea of like how different they wanted, this game to be coming from Halo, right? Like Halo, for most of the games they made anyway, you're pretty much just, the one Spartan, cutting through the Covenant defenses. You're kind of lone wolf, super soldier, blah, 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 blah. And they changed this up. And one of the big things was having this, pretty much forcing people to interact with each other while you're in the middle of a firefights and stuff. So I've enjoyed it. My favorite part of Vault of Glass, it's probably the Templar fight. Both times, either the Templar fight or the very end with Atheon, when someone is the relic holder. And I like that idea of someone holding this invincibility tool. It's not invincible because motherfuckers get killed with the relic all the time and it just destroys everything. But no, kind of having this tool that helps everyone else out and just having a very distinct and different role from everyone else, which is why I like the platforming sequence at the end of Oryx too, right? It just separates one person kind of holding up this very important role to help everyone else. And it's just a unique thing for a first person shooter. But I love the whole Vault of Glass raid. I pretty much like every part of it. Except when you got people that keep getting caught by the Gorgons. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I mean, it's a rookie mistake, like everyone has to, I guess, go through it once just to, it's like putting your hand on the stove. It's like, you're not going to do that shit again.
But Taj, if I recall, you haven't experienced that.
Getting caught? I've been caught before.
By the Gorgons?
Maybe not with you guys.
Okay.
I've been caught before. Yeah.
No, like I remember, and Snooze can back me up on this. The first time we did the raid with you, it was you and one other new person, Skip Boogie, my boy. Were doing that raid for the first time, and not only did we get through the Gorgon maze in like amazing time. Like maybe I think it's first attempt. No one even got caught. But then everyone made the jumping puzzle after that. I'm like, this has never happened before, right? Like not with any fire team I played on. I played with like veterans and like cats just keep missing the jump. Oh, I hit the rock too hard, or I jumped when I shouldn't have and now the Gorgon saw me. Like that shit don't happen, especially like first time players. So that was very cool, and that made it a quick run as well. And it got a little more difficult when we got to Atheon, but it's supposed to be. So,
I mean, I got to take this time to, be thankful for all them Scooby-Doo episodes I watched. Had me out there getting my stealth on like a young Ezio.
Yo, man, there is a very distinct pattern, and sometimes cats will be like, "No, I'm gonna go this way." I'm like, "Why would you go that way? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" So I take it everyone would take. Okay, here's a question. If you had, like, say it's a long night, you try to do a raid, and you had, like, you can pass this one stage for one night only. Would you use that on the Gorgon maze, or would you use that on the ships in the King's Fall raid?
Ships. Ships. My platforming is just so terrible.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now though, like that the ships section, especially on hard mode of King's Fall, it makes you into a platformer.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. Like, you gonna get this shit done or it just ain't gonna happen, right? But yo, the ships part, like, those are the two parts of raids I can think of where it depends on everyone getting through to move on type of thing. Mm-hmm. The Gorgon one is, I don't know which one I'd get more frustrated if people just like, I think the Gorgon one, because the Gorgon one is like, okay, follow this path, right? And there's not really, like, there's a couple jumps you can make, but you can pretty much make it pretty easily if you just do the right thing. And then sometimes if you just, you're not good at platforming, you're not good at platforming. So I think I'm more frustrated when people continuously fuck up the Gorgon maze. Cause they just on some bullshit. But
especially when that's like pretty much follow the leader.
Right. But there's actual, like, there is some difficulty with the platforming and with the ships. So I empathize with the ships one more. Because there's a possibility that if you keep messing up the Gorgon maze, you're just being an asshole. So I'm saying.
Cause I think I recall, like, the first night I did the ships. You was like, yeah, just you gotta give it up. Like, if you keep missing these ships, like, you gotta give it up. You're just like, nah, one more, I'm almost there.
That's
a determination.
As many times as we've done that, Snooze, I think only once did we have someone quit and have to rejoin us.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, the first time, oh my goodness, Snooze, the first time we went through that, how many times did we miss that high jump? Like,
too much.
Like 10 times, like, consecutively, right? And then it's like, okay, once you start getting it now for the most part, I can usually get it on the first try or first or second try. Yeah, like, it's just one of those things you kind of have to do. You can give someone instruction as much as you want, but, like, you just kind of have to do that shit. So yeah, the raids are kind of so non-raid content. Like, what, and I guess we can talk, like, strengths and weaknesses. Like, if we're not doing a raid, then what do you enjoy most about playing Destiny? And then what kind of things don't you like so much about playing Destiny?
I mean, I really love doing the strikes and the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yo, Taj pointed this out. They should have won something for this shit, right? Like, I got a column I'm working on right now, actually, for the website, that is pretty much like soundtracks from different nerdom that, like, you should not be ashamed to bump in your car. And yo, I would rock that Destiny soundtrack in the car, in the whip, like, during the summer on a Friday night on the strip with the windows down. I would bump the hell out of that Destiny soundtrack. Is great. And that's the original guy, actually two people, like, the original guy that you did the Halo games was, like, on the when Destiny launched, he did all the music for that, and the soundtrack for Halo always used to be incredible. And you know who else, like, contributed on that? Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney, like, contributed to the soundtrack for Destiny. Isn't that crazy?
Who's that?
Who's that? I know Kanye. I know.
Right.
I don't know Paul.
I know Migos.
I know Migos.
I know the Migos. Hell of the Beatles.
Yeah. So yeah. Strikes in the soundtrack. Favorite strike? Snooze.
Favorite strike.
Favorite strike and strike you hate the most.
Well,
because I know you got one you hate the most.
One I hate the most is the one with the relic that you have to put it in like the other area so that the eye doesn't shoot at you.
Oh my god, that is
the moving wall. That one I hate the most. Oh my gosh, with a passion.
Yo,
and
that
I feel like if I do a strike, I get that one.
See, here's the thing: I never get that strike anymore. In the playlist, I never get that strike anymore. And the one you're referring to is the Echo Chamber.
Yeah.
I never get that strike. Like, I go into the strike playlist, I'll play 5 straight strikes, and I haven't gotten the Echo Chamber in like well over a month. So I don't know what that is. You know what it is. You need to be playing with me. You need to be playing strikes with me. Is the moral of that story. But what's your favorite strike?
My favorite one is the one with the Cabal Brothers.
The Strike Brothers? Yeah.
The Strike Brothers, yeah, they're pretty cool. So the whole.
I'm sorry, Shield Brothers.
The Shield Brothers, yeah. The whole strategy of doing that whole thing is just pretty cool.
Yeah, as we record this is actually the Nightfall this week. Yeah, the Shield Brothers is pretty cool. And I have to remove my prejudice because I've had to play it so many times. But the Sunless Cell strike is amazing. Is amazing. So Snooze and I played this together for the first time, and it's Taken King, so I hadn't seen it yet either. So we do the strike for the first time, and we drop down there, and I'm like, okay, so no lights are gonna come on?
For like I got my hands, and maybe they were clap-on lights, but they didn't seem to work.
I'm like, okay, we'll probably get about 20% to this fight, and the lights will come on. Nope. It's gonna be dark. He's gonna shoot in the dark. All you can see is Cat's eyes running at you. Like, I hope you got your surround sound working for that shit. Yeah. And I think the last time we had to do it for the Nightfall, one of the mods on it was, one of the modifiers on it was no radar. I'm like, this is some bullshit. But I think that strike is amazing, especially the boss battle. It's different, obviously, than anything else in Destiny, where you're fighting the big boss in the dark. In what I assume was a circular room. I wouldn't know because I've never seen the walls. Yeah, with very few landmarks, right? Like, there's like a couple lanterns strewn throughout, and then there's like the center platform, but it's just pitch black. And that's a pretty exciting one. Another one, I guess, that I would say one of my favorites is the I like the Shadow Thief, which came out with House of Wolves. The one where you fight Tannix at the end, where you're pretty much chasing him throughout the board. That's one of my favorite strikes too. So, Taj, what about you? Favorite strikes?
I don't think I've played every strike, so I don't have a least favorite, and I don't want to be like, this guy that, had a cop-out answer, but I actually like all of them. The ones I played, I enjoy all of them pretty much.
I mean, they're really, they're really fun kind of extended story missions with certain, aspects to them that with higher stakes, right? Yeah, I mean, the strikes in the raids are obviously the highest end of like the player versus environment and content that Destiny has. Yeah, so like I said, I love the Shadow Thief. And I think I like all the ones that have come with the Taken King, even the Echo Chamber, as hard as that is. Because it does introduce a different element, right? Like carrying the relic to open up, kind of other parts of the fight. It is different than like your standard just sprint forward and shoot. So can we have an agreement on the hardest encounter within a strike? I don't know if we have an agreement on this. What's like the hardest part of a strike for y'all?
In general?
Yeah, of any of the strikes.
I'm actually trying to think of which strike it is, but I know it's with the robot at the end, and like the room keeps changing up.
The falling. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you get them down to like a certain percentage, like their snipers just come out and shooting. You got to dodge those and dodge the electricity.
The floor opens up, electricity on the sides.
It's just chaos if you don't know what you're doing.
You just got to take them down quick, because if that fight goes on too long, there's going to be too much shit out there. Actually, the beginning of that, where you have to defend the war sat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when you play with people that don't know what you're doing, especially
when you get taken instead of just a regular, dregs and stuff. When it's taken, it's horrible.
When it's taken, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, because they don't play. You got like the captains throwing the blackout shit at you, and it's all bad. It's all bad. I would say that's the hardest one, because not only is it just hard and tough enemies, but you can't leave the war sat, or you can't leave that circle for any extended period of time, because then you won't have the war sat countdown. You can't move on to the next part, and you'll die anyway. So that's the hardest kind of encounter to me. Close to that, if you get the Vex version of the Undying Mind, which is the strike where you have to you're on Venus and you have to kind of keep ascending the stairs before you face like the Undying Mind, which looks a lot like the big Vex mind or whatever in the other strike. If you get the Vex version of that, like that's actually one of the ones where the Taken one is easier.
Yep.
But you get the Vex version of that with those Praetorians, which are like the souped up Minotaurs. Oh my god, that shit is ridiculous. Because it gives you like 6 Praetorians at one time that are all majors, so they have extra health, and they all have like void shields. And it's like, what? How are we supposed to get past this shit? Yeah, last time Snooze and I played that, we were like, this is some bullshit. Like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't even make sense. But it's good. It's challenging, right? Like, you have to find a way. Like, it's definitely easier, and I'll ask you guys about kind of classes in a minute, but it's definitely easier for me on that encounter with my Titan, because my Titan, I can put a bubble up. I got a void sword I can use. I have a good shotgun I can use. I got the Invective, which is the auto fire shotgun. So it's easier to take those things down. But like even my higher character, which is my hunter, I have a really hard time getting through that part. So let's talk this. So my first character was a hunter. Snooze was a hunter. And Taj is a warlock. So Taj, I know you have other characters, but the one you've really been playing, like in the big bulk of content is your warlock.
Right.
Snooze, how do you feel about the difference in the characters, kind of seeing them for the first time? Hunter versus warlock, basically.
I mean, I like it. I like that there's some variety to their attacks and their outfits and their jump.
And it's not just a skin either, right? Like, it's actually they play differently,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like with when I first started off with my hunter, everything he did was cool, especially that triple jump, which was beautiful. It's like my favorite thing of all time.
All time.
Because that got me out of like so many situations. Yeah. But then when I made my warlock, and then, I saw him, his jump is like, it's just like a jump and then a glide. I'm like, I don't know how to control this, because I'm hoping that I would keep going up higher, but for some reason I keep gliding across, and I'm like, how do I cancel this? And that was just like the hardest thing for me to master, was just that jump. Everything else, with the warlock is pretty cool. The attacks, yeah, but that jump is like, come on.
Yo, I straight up judged y'all, man. I straight up judged y'all. And then I made my warlock. So just as some background, in year 1, all the Guardian variants only had 2 subclasses. So new to the Taken King for the Warlocks were the Stormcaller. So I see Snooze and Taj playing with their Warlocks, and they like busting out the Force Lightning like every 5 minutes. And I'm like, man, y'all love that shit. That shit's like, y'all are going so OD on that. I got my Warlock. I started rocking that. I'm like, okay, I get it. This is great.
Like it's just something. It's just something about, like, cause my character is, you know, a black woman, and it's just something about busting out the Stormcaller that just make you feel like Aurora Monroe. It's like,
that's the greatest.
Mistress of the elements, guide my hands.
Yo, that's real shit. Like, it is pretty fun. And like, and of course the other ones have their uses, but all the subclasses that got, added for the Taken King are all really good. They're all really good. And that kind of surprised me that, they would kind of become possibly the best subclasses of each of those. So, I mean, not necessarily the best, but like, you know, for the Hunter, like, I love that, that subclass, for the Hunter, you know, like being able to use the arrow and everything, and like how much like stealthier you are and how much quicker you move and all that. And then the Stormcaller is great for the Warlock. And then they finally addressed how overpowered the Sunbreaker Storm class was for the Titan, but it's still really cool, right? And, so yeah, like the Taken King content, like they really did the damn thing. Like I don't really have any complaints about it. I think they just kind of enhanced the game in every way. So kind of just one of the things is to kind of wind down to this. So I do have a question. Like, so now we've all been playing it a ton. What's everyone's favorite exotic weapon? Exotic piece of armor.
Supercell, definitely.
Supercell.
Yep. Same.
That's my baby.
Yeah, the Zalo is no joke. It's no joke. And Snooze, was that like your first exotic too?
I believe that was my second one, because I know. I think the Hawk Moon was my first one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we bought that one, right? Because then I think Zer sold that one like the first week, but I thought that was like the first one that dropped for you.
First drop, yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And I mean, you had that joint early. I'm like, damn, like where'd that gonna come from? I've never seen that before. I've been playing this game for a year. I ain't seen it. And you had that joint for a long, like I never got it to drop. I bought it from Zer when he finally sold it. But yeah, you had that gun early. And, yeah, that's a pretty good gun.
I'm still rocking it.
I know my favorite, well, I'll talk year 2. What's my favorite weapon? And I've had other stuff take its place because just from a need perspective, but I have the Jade Rabbit, which is a scout rifle, and that thing is great. But that probably is my favorite kind of new exotic weapon. What about armor?
I haven't had a lot of the exotic armor, so I can't answer you there.
For the Warlock, let's see. Yeah, you probably haven't ventured into that. Snooze, what about you?
For the Hunter, the armor with the wolf on it, the crest.
Oh yeah.
Give you that fast revive. I love that.
Fast revive. I think you pick up health as you step over orbs, type of thing. Yeah. Fast revive. I love that too. And they've gotten a lot cooler. Like in year 2, like there's more stuff going on with them. Like for instance, for my Warlock, I just picked up some gauntlets and they have like electricity running through them the whole time. But favorite piece of exotic armor for me, I do love that Alpha Lupi chest you just referenced, but I'm trying to think. I like that Nighthawk helmet. Just because it turns your golden gun into like fucking Megatron gun. That thing almost staggers Oryx by itself, basically. It's just good stuff. Like they've gotten it right. They've gotten it right, like with new weapons, new guns, how to get them, stuff like that. It's all, so as much as I love the game in the first year, it is definitely one of my favorite games now, just for all the stuff they've done to it. So what could they do to improve Destiny? Like what do you do in Destiny now that you're still kind of like, I hate having to do this?
Well, I'd say I hate having to like break down an exotic just to get a shard. I'd like to buy an exotic shard.
They gotta fix that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In year one, you could buy an exotic shard in year one. So I don't know what the purpose of taking that one away is, but yeah, that's problematic. And the fact that like exotics won't infuse as much as legendaries will, like it takes you more to infuse something up to a certain level for an exotic. And it's harder to do because you have to find an exotic shard. Like that they need to work on that. What about you?
Because it just makes you, I guess, think about like, okay, what do I got to break down? It might be something that, you got to part with, sadly.
Right.
Yeah, but let's see, what do I not like about the game? Well, like I've been looking for these calcified fragments for the past 2 days, and I've just telling you guys before we got on how I've been stuck on that Sense of Worm. And it's just like, I spent like almost 2 hours just trying to get that one. And it's like, I have other ones to get, but I'm like, it's just taunting me at this point. So it's just like, I wish it would be easier to get. Like, I wish it would just fall into my lap.
Dude, you gotta get 45 of those. 45 of those. There's only 50 in the game. And there were only 47 available before, the challenges came out. So yeah, I mean, it's a good and a bad. Like I like the exotic quests. It makes you work for certain exotics, and there were exotic quests in year one, like like to get the Thorn hand cannon that was pretty much the automatic weapon that you used in especially in Crucible. To get that, there was a quest for that. There's a quest for Bad Juju, that pulse rifle. So there were some quests, but they were kind of like collect all these things, do these strikes, do this in the Crucible. Was pretty much what those quests were. These are better, right? Like it takes you through story missions or a special type of story mission or a special type of strike. So these quests are better. These quests are hard as hell too. Actually, Taj, you just completed the one to get your sleeper stimulant.
Right. Yeah.
So how was that strike, bruh?
I guess it wasn't the strike that got me. I guess it was just waiting for those public events. It was like I kind of breezed through like everything else, but it was just like those public events where you just gotta wait and be at the right place at the right time. It was just like, okay, like, so you waiting 20 minutes for this one thing that you need to pop up. It's just,
no, that's fair. Yeah, I mean that one was really tough. Snooze and we might try it tonight or tomorrow or something. Because I know, Taj, you need this. Snooze and I did the quest for the No Time to Explain pulse rifle. That has this ridiculous part at the end where I've never seen so many Minotaurs on screen before.
Oh my gosh.
You have to kill this boss, but it's not like Vex spawn. It is literally all Minotaurs.
Yep.
And you just gotta like keep reviving and stay alive long enough to kill this boss. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But the weapons, like that really makes it like the sleeper stimulant is probably the most powerful one-shot, you know, weapon in the game. The Touch of Malice, which you have to do a quest for, is, you know, probably in a couple of specific circumstances is the most powerful weapon in the game. So, definitely, you know, they make you work for it. They make you work for it. And so I ain't mad at that. Especially stuff like certain quests now you can matchmake for. Like I remember the Thorn Hand Cannon, for those that didn't know, Thorn Hand Cannon was a, hand cannon that would damage you over time if you got hit by it. So it was a little overpowered. But that's why everyone wanted it. So like once you got that quest, one of the things you had to do was you had to get like a really good score in the Crucible, and like if you died, it subtracted shit. So that was crazy. But then there was like this special strike that was like a Nightfall that you had to do at the very end, and you couldn't matchmake for it. You had to go find 2 other people. So, I mean, it's made that better. It's made it a little bit more inclusive. I just like the quests. They're better now. My major complaint, I echo kind of what Snooze said. Like some of the functionality things are a little off, like how you get an exotic shard, for instance. The infusing sounds really good, but with the cap right now, because there's a cap that's pretty close to where everyone's at 320, then that means like you can have some weapons that will not get infused for a very long time because there's nothing that's going to drop higher than it, you know? So it's kind of hard to top out. You have to run hard mode of the raid like a bajillion times to do that and get lucky with the drop. So some of the RNG on it is I think it's almost too much now. But it didn't like break the game. I still think the game is incredible. So, last thoughts on y'all on Destiny? Cause we made this a full Destiny podcast. So we got to talk about something else next time. So like I'll start with you, Snooze, like anything we didn't get to about Destiny you want to talk about?
No, I think we got to I think we touched upon the great parts of Destiny, even the ones that suck a little bit. I just love those raids. They're the King's Fall, you know.
All about that King's Fall. And I do wish, and I know why they can't do it, it's pretty complicated or whatever, but I do wish that running, and they like with the quest they've updated, but like they gave you more reasons to run the old raids, because they're good. They're still good. You just can't get, like the good gear out of it anymore, but they're still fun to run. So I kind of wish it gave you more reason to do those, but yeah, I love it. What about you, Taj?
It's just a great game. I'm looking forward to all the content that is going to come out in 2016.
That they've been promising us, yes.
I mean, a lot of people are complaining, about the wait times, but I'm like, it's a lot of content to do right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to get that stuff eventually. I'm excited for it. But let's be in the present a little bit. Let's just enjoy and be thankful for, what we're getting now. We got these races to do now.
Yep, Sparrow races.
Those are fun. Those are just fun as hell. It's just a great time to be a gamer.
It is. And we will definitely talk, more because, we'll try to take Destiny out of it unless something crazy comes up. But, the next time we're on, we could talk about, and I've been saying this, like for AAA titles, gaming might be having one of its best years in a long time. Like for just top end, not your B titles, like, like the top franchises, like how good some of these games are. Is actually going to be a real debate about what's game of the year this year. So we'll definitely have to get on and talk about that before the end of the year, kind of give our game of the year, perspective on that. But first Twilight Gap podcast in the books.
Yes.
Yep.
Mama, we made it. We did it.
Another one.
Right, another one. Yo, let me throw. This is Memnoch117 signing off.
It's RiseOfTaj.
GeneralSnooze.
Yeah, and we catch y'all next time.
Peace.
See ya.